Hi there, I'm Susan with Kiwi Lane Designs. I am the CEO and co-founder here at Kiwi Lane, and I am so excited to be sharing with you a fun class so that we can create these 3 cards. And we're really grateful to be able to partner with Scrapbook Expo and bring this class to you specifically in your home. And so we're going to be making this card right here. It says, "You inspire me," which is great for maybe a friend or a family member or a neighbor, or just anyone in your life that maybe you could just send this card to brighten their day. This card right here has no sentiment on it, which is great because maybe you have a birthday coming up or any other reason. So sometimes having some cards that are just blank with no sentiment actually leaves it open for you to use it in a variety of ways. And then this one right here, it says, "Friends always." So I definitely recommend when we're creating this to be thinking of a friend that is really special and dear to you that you could be sending this card to and creating with them in mind. I love these little owls. They're so cute. Super, super cute. So those are the 3 cards that we're going to be creating. Now to create them, the things that you're going to need is the supplies that you should have gotten from Scrapbook Expo, and that is these 3 sheets. So you'll get 3 of the exact same sheets, okay? And then of course, one of our card sampler packs. Now this has a variety of different designer templates, and I'm going to show you how easy and simple they are to use. And we're going to play to create these 3 adorable cards. So other than that, you're going to need some basic tools. So a pair of scissors, preferably a nice pair of scissors. Hopefully you have some scissors around, and grab those. I personally recommend ink and a dauber, so whatever version that you might like and need for that. A pencil, basic pencil, nothing fancy there. Some adhesive, and also a paper trimmer. So straight paper trimmer. So whatever version you have for that will work. All right, so let's go ahead and start playing to create. So the first step we're going to do is we're going to just take one of these sheets at a time, all right? And we're going to separate each one of these sections. I find that to be super helpful. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take off this little label strip here really quickly, and then trim down the middle, right? And then just each of these sections here, okay? So we're just gonna go ahead and do a straight cut on each of those. Now this little card that you see here at the bottom, this is just a little recipe card. This is a different type of card that you could create with some of our other designer templates. It's not the cards we're going to be creating in this class, but I just wanted to show you that because one of the beautiful things is we are going to be using the same paper for each of these cards that we're creating, but you can see even more options, well, 2 more options using that same paper. So it's really fun because when you play with the designer templates, again, which I'll be showing you here, you can change the look, and it's amazing even using the same paper how that look changes. But you can imagine if you change that paper, the look of it changes as well. So I'm going to go ahead and do this last section here, and I'm going to take off this little bit of bottom part here since I'm already doing some straight cuts. Okay, so I'm going to keep all of my pieces. These are going to be my layering pieces. So I want to keep those all secure in a nice little pile. We're done with our paper trimmer for now, so I'm going to put that to the side. And this is going to become our card base. All right, looks like I have a little strip here that I need to clean up. So it's a good thing I point that out so that if that's the case for you, again, you could just clean that up just a little on yours as well. All right, now we should be good. Okay, so first step is we're going to take the card base. This is this larger piece that we just trimmed out of the sheet, and we're going to fold it over, and this is going to become our basically our canvas in which we're going to design our card on top of. Now the first card, I'm just going to go ahead and pull this one over. We're going to design this card right here. And so what you're going to need to do is now pull out your card sampler pack here, which has the variety of different designer templates that we are going to be using. And again, we're just going to be creating these 3 cards. but it's amazing what else you can create with just these designer templates. So have a lot of fun using these for other cards that you might want to create as well. Okay, so let's go ahead and pull this out here. Now you get a lot of designer templates inside of this kit. So again, we're barely going to use them all, but I'm excited to see what you create with them. And so feel free to join us over on our Play to Create group on Facebook. It's Play to Create with Kiwi Lane, so that we can see what other cards that you'll make with these. And I would love to see your finished projects as well. So to start off with, we're going to go ahead and we're going to take our Sincerely 1A, 1B. So you're just going to see it right here at the bottom. It says Sincerely, and it's 1A and 1B. So you're going to grab those two, and we're going to lay it out on our card base like I showed you. So this allows us to play to create our designs and allow us to visualize a card design. So lots and lots of fun things that you can do with these. Just keep in mind to allow yourself to play. In this case, we are going to be card lifting this design. So I'm just going to lay them out as I see them here. All right. So just like that, see how quickly that came together? As you can imagine, this is really fun because a lot of the cards that you see, whether that's on our website, or we have lots of fun different idea books. We have this amazing card idea book that you can get on our website that just has tons of different ideas, and yes, even lists the different sets that we use, designer templates. For example, you'll see them listed here on this. So you kind of get the formula, what we used for each of those. And then of course, just an easy way for you to use your scraps of paper and create some fun cards. So definitely make sure to check that out and follow the link provided through this class. Okay, so let's go ahead and finish this card up. So again, we're going to move everything else to the other side, and all we used is the accents 2T, the tags 6T, the rings 1, and the sentiments and strips. So yours should end up looking just like that. Now that we have it designed, we're going to go ahead and trace each of those elements out. So you can see here, this pattern we used. So I'm going to grab this sheet of paper that we just traced out of our sheet, and I'm going to actually lay the little tiny border up on the edge of this paper. Okay, let me move this up a little. Here we go. All right, so first step, you're going to just trace along that edge. And if we had a bigger sheet of paper, I just want to show you this because they actually pair together. So then if, say, this sheet was a bigger sheet, in this case the kit already comes pre-cut in that manner, then all you would do is make a mark right here and then do a straight cut with your paper trimmer. And the beauty of that is that we're just going to cut it once up the middle, and that one cut is going to give us our two pieces. All right, now I'm going to save the inking towards the end. Let's go ahead and cut all of our pieces. Now you're going to have a little bit of pencil line. Even I have a little pencil line. I don't use my time to erase those. I'm just going to ink right over it. You know what? Let me go ahead and show you that for this one, and then we'll just ink all the other ones at the same time. So see how you can just ink right over that edges, and it gives everything a nice finished look, hides any blemishes, imperfections, anything like that. So now I just ink all of the edges that are going to show. This top piece will be covered by that middle strip design that we just did there. All right. So that's the piece here. We can go ahead and slide it back. We don't need to adhere anything down yet. We're just going to take each layer at a time. Now this one is the yellow strip here. So probably what I'll do is I'll just lay that down, and again I'm going to trim it up towards the end. So I'm just going to place that in there. That replaces our 2-inch strip. Okay, now on the tag, we're going to take the tag and our sentiment that you see here, right? And the great thing about the designer templates is they're clear, so you're just going to lay that over and you can see and adjust as needed. If you love stamping, pull out those stamps. If you haven't used your stamps for a while, dust off the cobwebs and pull them out. And you can also make some adorable cards. Again, you can use these over and over again. So we're gonna just make the 3 cards, but you can pull out your scraps of paper, pull out your stamps, and put them to good use using this fun design card kit that you just got for this class. All right, so we're going to just do the same step. We're gonna trace around the edges now that I have it lined up. So let's say it was a stamp, right? Then of course you could just take a piece of paper, stamp on it, and then take your piece and straighten it at that point and adjust it as needed and then trace it out. So the same feature here works for the stamping technique. All right. Now what I always like to do is I like to kind of detach just the extra pieces if I don't necessarily want to work around them. And then I'm just going to do some quick shortcuts. Now I'm going to give you some cutting tips here since this is a little bit more intricate. You'll notice that my cutting hand is staying stationed and my left hand or your opposite hand is guiding it through. So I kind of just allow the paper to kind of guide through my paper or my cutting scissors like so, and see that my hand kind of adjust those and move it along. So just something to pay attention to when you're cutting. So for example, maybe you're kind of going like this, right, with your hand, kind of moving it all over. Just try, you know, bringing your other hand in and guiding it through the cuts. So hopefully that's helpful. Yeah, just again, something to be mindful of on that. All right. Okay, now we're going to take our other 2 little pieces we have here. They are double-sided, so if you wish that you wanted to maybe do the green instead of the red, that's completely up to you. Just have a lot of fun with that. So again, I'm going to stick to the card to make it simple, and we're going to trace out the flower on the orange like so. And I'm going to go ahead and just trace out the ring at the same time. So I'm going to take that outside edge and trace the inside. You don't have to use this as a ring, by the way. You can just use it as a full circle. I'm going to show you how we recommend cutting out the inside of the rings, but you don't have to use it as necessary a ring in your designs all the time. So just keep that in mind as well. All right, so we're going to go ahead and again just kind of detach that just so that it guides through our scissors a little bit easier on that. And so I'm going to go ahead and follow that along. So if you're not a big fussy cutter, I don't consider this too fussy though. Again, some of the design or templates are a little bit more intricate than others, but I find it very therapeutic. A lot of it comes down to what scissors you're using as well. So I always call it a test drive, just kind of like how you go for a test drive for a car to kind of figure out which one works for you, what you like, your style, you know, which one you feel good with using, etc. I kind of feel the same way with scissors. So we have 3 different scissors that we recommend personally that we've used on our website. And each one of us has a different one that we like. And when I say each one of us, the co-founders, which is myself, my mother-in-law Debbie, and my sister-in-law Shiloh, we all find that we like different types of scissors, which shows you that we're all a little bit different. So just finding a good pair of scissors that you're comfortable with makes the world of a difference. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and cut this one out. I couldn't help myself to ink that piece. See, it's just so second nature. It becomes very therapeutic, whether it's through the cutting or the inking. Once you get past that initial designing, it's really just some simple steps, which is very therapeutic. You can put a TV show on, sit in front of a movie, grab a couple scraps and a couple designer templates, and you don't have to haul your whole house to go to a crop or to a fun get together with some friends. So very simple and very productive. You'll be able to accomplish a lot. Okay, so for this ring, one tip that I have, and you'll notice this in a lot of our idea books, is that most of the time when we're using this ring, we have a little bit of a layering hiding it. And what we do is we just clip right in to the center, and then I'm going to cut that center piece out. And then of course where I clipped in to make this inside cut, that will be hiding anyways. So nobody will know the difference at all. So it's again all about kind of keeping that simple. You can use a little X-Acto knife if you wanted to, but like I said, most of the time when we're using these rings, we are layering it with other pieces. So it kind of hides it for you, like so. Let me go ahead and ink the tag. So you're going to want to do the same thing. Just go ahead and ink that edge. Now the one color that we recommend, it's Vintage Photo by Ranger. And the reason why we've settled on this one color is because we found that it works really great with lights, brights, darks, even blacks, you know, color palettes. So it just really kind of blends those pencil lines in as well. But this does not mean that you cannot use any other ink colors that you prefer. So if you want to maybe ink some of this yellow to color with the rest of the color palette, then by all means. It's just we have settled on this one color, which just kind of helps in one area of the creative process, eliminate some decision making. So for me, I just know that it works, and so I kind of stick with the one color. Okay, so now let's go ahead and first adhere our pieces down, and then I'm going to trim that piece off. Okay, so starting with the top piece, you're going to add a little bit of adhesive, right? And then just lay that down. And usually I look at the edge of the card and I'm like, okay, so it's about right there on the edge. Make sure this is straight on your one edge. And again, we can trim that up. Well, I need to trim mine up just a little because my card base, but that's okay. All of that is creative problem solving at its finest. So we're gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna come down here. So sometimes I hear people say, well, I don't know where to place them or anything like that. If you designed it, just kind of keep in mind proportionally how far close it was to an edge or different things like that. But for the most part, don't overthink it. Just kind of work with what you got here. And for this, I'm going to just put it right onto the card base so that I can get the adhesive right to the edge, because I'm going to trim this piece off. And I'm going to trim those sides up as well. So that's just going to go right down the center, and then flip over your card base. And this is all I'm going to do. So I'm just going to take my scissors and trim those edges like so. Okay, so you're just going to trim those off. And then I would, of course, just do a quick inking around the edges. I do love that nice cohesive finish look. So that's also one of the beautiful benefits of just taking a couple minutes and inking your edges. All right, so the next piece is starting with your bottom layer, which is going to be the ring in this case. Add some adhesive, and then we're going to go ahead and again make sure that slit is down towards the bottom, because then we'll be able to cover it. I'm going to take this next piece, place that right here, and it kind of goes right here in the middle of the ring and slide to the right a little bit like so. And then as far as your flower goes, you're going to want to just turn it so that it's kind of the U still shows. So you don't want to cover the U necessarily. So if you need to go over a little bit more on your tag, then I definitely recommend that. And a little bit of my pencil is showing there, so I'm just going to add a little bit more ink. There we go. Now I am a big fan of pop-up, so I'm going to add a little bit of pop-up. This is optional. If you want to add pop-up to yours, then definitely recommend it. You want to be careful, I would say, as far as other thick embellishments. Maybe if you're like, well, why don't I add a brad or something? Just keep in mind, if you are shipping your cards, all of that adds extra postage. So I found that a little bit of pop-up doesn't really add to the postage unless you're going crazy, and depending on how thick your pop-up is. But for the most part, I tend to design with a little bit of pop-up, and it's pretty much standard shipping rates on that. Now we have a lot of different fun options. You get to pick. You could definitely do another owl here. We're gonna do an owl on our other card. So you get to decide. I'm gonna go ahead with the heart, just because, you know, you inspire me speaks from the heart. And you're just gonna follow those lines like so. You're gonna really want to slow down your cuts when you're doing little circles. I recommend that. You just kind of cut towards the tip. Now, if of course, you know, maybe it's not as perfect cut as you want, you can kind of adjust. As, so like that's a little lopsided for me. So I'm just gonna go back really quickly and I'm gonna get closer to that stitch line, since that stitch line is pretty circular. There we go. And the magic of inking, not only does it hide pencil marks, give it a nice finished look, but it really deceives the eye in a lot of those personal, you know, detailed touches. So I'm gonna go ahead and add a little adhesive, and voila, we're done. That is card number 1. Okay, so hopefully that was pretty simple for everyone. Now, we didn't use, you'll notice like I have this little extra in this strip. It wasn't used in this card. You could absolutely open up the inside, and in this case, because we have these extra strips, you know, add little strip down here. Again, I would ink those edges personally, and I'm gonna go ahead and add that. Why not, right? Just a little bit of pop of color inside, and to go along with your personal message. So that's really cute. And then if you want to come back, you could cut again, maybe a couple of those other circles. Well, let me do it so we can see what it looks like. And then we'll move on to the next card. So again, you don't have to use these. You can toss them in your recycling bin, but I did want to point it out that it's kind of fun sometimes to just use those scraps. Use what you have to its full advantage. Okay? So just a little inside thing there. All right. So let me go ahead and stick our little scrap pile over here. So that is card number 1. Let's go ahead and move to card number 2. So we're going to repeat the same steps. We're going to go ahead and design, trace, cut, ink, replace. Same basic steps. Now the first step though, of course, is we have to do a little prepping. So let's go ahead and pull out our paper trimmer again, in this case, and cut off the label strip. Try to get my cuts a little closer this time on this. And here on that. Okay, and again, you don't have to cut each of these sections individually. I just simply trim it out. Now this recipe card, again, is the same as the other one, so you don't need to keep all of them. You can give it to a friend if you want. There are a lot of, you know, show them. Put kiwilane.com on there, share the love. That would be awesome. And just kind of give somebody, especially if they're not, you know, just getting started with paper crafting or not familiar with it. Whether that be scrapbooking or card making or just paper crafting in general. I have found that card making is kind of like not as intimidating, so kind of a good way to bring on some more creative buddies with you. Convert more people, right? We all need more creative buddies to join us in our madness. So let's go ahead and fold this one over. This one is also with the teal on the outside, so keep that on the outside. Let me go ahead and put this up here for a reference as we're doing this. And then we're going to find the designer templates and first design it so that we have what we need in our reach. All right, so and this card, we're going to use the other tiny border set sample that you get in that card kit sampler, and that is the Sentiments 2A and 2B. So we're going to go ahead and grab those. We're going to do the same design of a back-to-back, right? Of course, you can layer these like this. Look how cute that would be. And you could do a strip, squirrel, but I do want to show you just again this versatility of playing and adding different layers and how quickly that would come together. So yes, lots of fun, lots and lots of fun. Play, just play, play, play. We all need a little bit of play in our lives. So the key here is to not overthink it. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna put this down here at the bottom, like so. And then we're going to, that's where this orange strip is gonna come into play. And it looks like Explore 6T, and the tiny accents 2T is placed right there with the green kind of poking through, and you can offset it. So that's kind of the basic design there on this. If we wanted to change it up, you could put, instead of a strip in the middle, maybe this Adorn 1A kind of instead. And you could do different colors. I will change this one up, so just so you can see versatility. But if you love this, stick to this design. I'm gonna just shift it just a little bit so that we can play a little bit. All right. Okay, so first thing first, again, we're gonna take our bottom layers, our borders. Now I wanna show you on these cards how they're getting these opposites here. So same thing, we're gonna take our sheet of paper here, and just like they layer together, if it's double-sided, then that's where you can flip it and have these two different patterns represented. So we're just gonna take one of our pieces, line it up on the edge, trace. We don't have to do a straight cut because the paper's already wide, the exact width that we need. And then we're just gonna take our pair of scissors and cut it once up the middle. And you'll notice that I kind of always start on the back ends of my scissors and then just do some quick shortcuts up, okay? So, just like I was sharing with you, so what we're gonna do is, if this was gonna go back down, then all you would do is flip it, okay? So whatever direction that might be, and that is how you get the two different patterns. All right, so very simple. Again, I'm not going to ink anything until we're done. So let's go ahead and lay those down and put our pieces back up. If you want to stick with the original design, then all I would recommend, mine has a little bit of, I need to clean it up just a little, so I'm just going to clean up my strip just a tad. Okay, and then that would go down in the center. If you might want to just change it up, then another option is take the Adorn, and I would trace it out of the, you could stick to yellow, but I'm going to trace it out of the red, and then change up the color that I do that one in. Oh, I don't know. It's fun. Either way, all the three of the cards, you know, I was hesitant to use yellow again just because we used it, but the truth is we're going to use this red on the next card anyhow. So I just wanted to show you guys for the sake of showing you what the Adorn in between those two borders looks like, instead of maybe a 1/2-inch strip like it is. Okay, so you're just going to trace that. Now on these borders, they you do trace each side. So we call these a fun border, and they are designed slightly different, that you do trace and cut each side of those. Okay, so let's go ahead and cut our next layer out. I'm going to stick with the green because I do feel like that helps a little bit. Pop that, and you like that. Now, one of the things I was just noticing here is that if I do the teal, then it kind of blends with the background. So, and then if I do the red, then it's going to be layered red on top of red because I put this here. So I might flip my Adorn and do the yellow. I think so, down the middle. So you're going to want to hold this down. It takes a little bit of work to just hold that down and get used to it. But you just hold it down with one of your hands and then trace with your other one. Okay? Like so. So let me go ahead and, again, same thing. Let's go ahead and trace out the other one. You could trace it on the side that you are cutting it, or you can trace it on the opposite side. So that's completely up to you. Often I'll just trace it on the color that I want, just so I don't have to do the the math per se of figuring out, okay, wait, hold on, if I trace it on this side, will it flip correctly depending on the design, all of that stuff. But if that is something that you want to explore, then yes, absolutely do. It's not foreign by any means. It's just usually another step you have to explain. So I just usually just trace it on the top of the pattern. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and cut that out. Again, guiding it through your cutting hand with your left hand, like so. Okay. All right, and then we'll do the next one. On this one, what I recommend is to cut around the outside edges first. So you'll see how I'm kind of cutting it and just connecting at those end points, and then I'm just going to snip in like so. Just do some straight cuts, snipping into each of those designs. And again, I'm feeding it through my scissors with my opposite hand. You can see that I'm kind of feeding that through. Okay, so hopefully that was helpful. And then of course we're going to ink all of our pieces. So if you're still cutting, that's okay. We'll be inking for a moment here. We got to ink all of these pieces really quickly. And that's what I love about this dauber, is when you have little details like this, it's really easy to get in to those spaces. And it's, you know, you are using, you know, paper, so you're able to bend it and get into those crevices as well if needed. So if you don't have a dauber like this, you know, there's the sponges, lots of variations. So if you're not familiar with that, or if you have one of those, of course it works just as good. So again, that's a preference. But if you happen to be new, I personally use the dauber. I like how it fits on my finger, which is ultimately why I choose this one over other types of daubers variations. All right, I was trying to look to see if I had any of those other versions that sometimes people use. I don't have any close by. I'm gonna flip this, like I mentioned on mine, and I'm not gonna use the strip, but here is the version with the strip. So I wanted to just create the two of them so that you could see for yourself. Sometimes just that little adjustment makes it your own as well. Now, I will say that I love that about the Play to Create system is, one, it allows you to play your way to creativity. So feel free to play with the designs and come up with your own creations. Like I said, we would love to see them. So make sure to jump over. You can create a free account on our website at kiwilane.com. We have a really fun community that we just started there with our new website, and gives you a chance to connect with other creatives and just be inspired by each other. And we're of course on Facebook, so make sure to find us over there, Kiwi Lane Designs. And our group is Play to Create with Kiwi Lane. And then of course, you can post and share. Each month we do a few different giveaways for a $25 gift certificate. So if you're posting on your personal pages or other places like Instagram, just use hashtag create with Kiwi Lane. That way you'll be entered into those monthly giveaways. Each month we pick a new winner based off of the post for those months. Okay, so once you finish these cards, post them on your Instagram and tag us for another chance to just win. Now I'm gonna let this kind of go up over the edge, but that's where my pieces are gonna go. So I'm just gonna hide that little piece there anyways. So that's kind of a look at the similar but a little bit different designs here, like so, right? Now, of course, we didn't use these other two sentiments, which this sentiment we're going to use on our next card because it's double-sided and that's fun. But I do want a centerpiece, so I'm going to go ahead and take one of these centerpieces. I'm just going to cut the owl out and add that to the center of my flower again. So in this design kit here, You also get some different balloons and just different things. Look how, like, we didn't even use all these fun ones. Honestly, I'm not sure why we didn't, because they're so cute. But I just wanted to show you with just the same repetitive pieces how cute you can, how many cards, versatility you can make. But there's so many other designer templates inside of your kit that you can take full advantage of. Make sure to click on the link down below. It'll take you to a landing page that will show you even more cards using these specific other designer templates that we didn't quite design with, okay? So make sure you check out those links provided with this class. All right, now we're on to our last card here. And this is the card we'll be creating. So we're gonna go back and we're gonna take our next sheet and we're going to go ahead and separate those patterns of paper really quickly. So this is one of our make and take sheets, but we actually have in our shop these quick card paper kits that we provide, and they already pre-cut. So instead of doing this step that we're doing right now, they're already pre-cut, so you can have all the pieces inside of these kits, and then it shows you each, like, so it's 10 different cards, sorry about that. It has 5 bags, but each bag creates 2 cards. So you see those recipes here too, just a sample of this and this being used, and the designer templates listed here. Now I will note that if you don't use, of course, the designer templates, like if you say you have like sentiments, the border that we're using, you could just replace it. Instead of maybe using this blissful, use the one that you have there instead. So these are in our shop. Fun quick card kits is what we call them. Quick card kits that really help simplify the process, and like I said, easy to take with you, and to crops. Like, you can grab a couple supplies, you don't need much, and you'll be able to create beautiful cards. I think that's what's fun about this style, is that it's kind of deceiving in a little bit, because it makes it feel like it took hours to create, yet it didn't. They come together pretty quickly. So definitely check out those quick card kits if you personally love to make cards and need a bit of card creations there. I'm going to flip that here. Okay. All right, so now that we have our canvas, we are going to grab, on this case, we're going to use only one of the borders. In this one, we'll stick the other piece inside of our card, because again, when you cut 2, you'll automatically get the 2 pieces. Or if you want, save your other piece that comes out of that cut and create another card, right? So I always think it's fun to have a little bit of pop of color inside the card. So that's probably what I'll do with mine. Okay, so I'm just gonna gather those, just get a visual of what I'm doing here. So I'm gonna flip that. Adorn is flipped. If you want it up on the right side edge there. And in this sample, we used Explore 6T and Tiny Accents 3T. So you'll look for those. They're listed there. And that's tucked in there halfway. So I'll show you how we cut that out as well, just to simplify it. Okay, let's get started. So again, I'm gonna line this up, take the bottom layer, line this up on the edge, and trace it. That extra piece that you won't be using on this design, again, you can place it inside, or you can use it on another card or creation another time. All right, so let me go ahead and take the next layer here. So I'm going to cut this out of red, and this one, again, you trace it on both sides like so. I might have done that really quickly, so I apologize. So hopefully you can kind of catch up on that. I know I tend to cut pretty fast, so I'm trying to go really slow, but if I'm going a little fast, hopefully you can pause it, and then once you're done, kind of catch up too. Okay. All right. So that is the other piece. Now, as far as the sentiment, again, we're going to adjust it and see through the design. So see how we can see through that. And it looks like it just lines up right there at the bottom. And I'm only going to cut out the little bit of portion here because it's going to be tucked anyways. Detach it. It's always helpful to detach any extra pieces you don't need hanging on to your sheet. And then I just cut across the top. Again, you want to go high enough, but it is going to be tucking in here. So kind of tuck in there. And then we're going to take our next 2 pieces, and you can trace these out of these little squares. If you want to change it up, again, feel free to change it up. Say we want to do this flower piece over here instead, maybe layered with that. See how cute that is? All right, let me see if this will fit here. Oh, it's not quite the right for this quick card kit, but you'll find many other paper designs capable to accommodate for that size of space. Now you could have adjusted a little if you need to work with your scraps of paper. I always recommend using your scraps of paper. So I don't know, I think the star is kind of cute, but let me just kind of show you how I do that. I would trace around that. It takes a little bit of adjustment, but I'll show you just for the sake of showing you. Because sometimes I do run into this issue where my scraps of paper is not quite, and sometimes we'll kind of think, oh no, but in the end, you know, all you're going to do is, instead of going to that edge, I'm just going to trim it up a little there. I mean, you're talking just a sliver of a size difference, so it's important to kind of use up your scraps. So this is, of course, again, creative problem solving at its finest, and at the end of the day, nobody will know the difference, right? So same kind of thing, I actually would just snip right into these on them and just make them straight cuts to simplify it on that, like so, and guide it through with your left hand. Simple, simple. Let me see how this turned out so we know. I might need to trim this up just a little bit more on this side. There we go. So it's a little offset. So I kind of experimented for the sake of all of us so you guys could see. I'm going to trim these up just a little bit more, and that will solve the problem and give us the need of this paper for this design. Again, you won't run into this all the time, but if you did, some easy adjustments like that will do just the trick. So, and then you can flip this one over and we're going to trace this out. So just again, hold it down with your left hand for the most part and just kind of slowly trace those edges. Sometimes it moves on me as well, and that's okay because it's just pencil, so no harm, no foul. If needed, you can adjust or erase if you go in a little bit. It didn't seem to do any problem. It seemed to be fine. So I always just snip around these round designs. Like when it's round, I go on the outside edge first, and then I snip on the inside, like so. So hopefully you're able to, like I said, pull out scraps of paper, create multiple different cards using the rest of the supplies that you have. And the great thing about the designer templates is they are a tool. They're a designing tool to help you first design instead of staring at an empty page. Well, for scrapbooking, it's super helpful, or basically staring at an empty canvas, right? And super helpful in that. Okay, so now I'm just going to ink the edges like so. So I just remember the days I used to just stare at an empty canvas, whether that's a layout or a card or whatever, and I would just start questioning. I don't feel creative, I'm not creative. And so the ability to use these tools to start to basically awaken your creativity and be inspired by them. There's just so many layering techniques, different ways that you can layer them. So like I said, play your way to creativity. You'll have a lot of fun. And if you just kind of not overthink it and give yourself permission to play, I promise you'll have a lot of fun. And they play friendly with other products. Often as crafters, we tend to start collecting, you know, different products. And so I have found that this style really gives a foundation for me to build on with so many of their supplies that I have been holding on to, whether that's stamps or just where to put buttons or embellishments. You can always stick those in the centers. Again, just giving you that foundation to build on top of. I mean, I pulled out my shape scissors the other day. You guys know what I'm talking about, right? Like these old guys, these shape scissors. And if you cut your borders with them, it adds a little cute edging. And again, because you're only cutting it once, it adds it to both sides and it's just a decorative edge. So how many of you guys have those? I have revitalized them. Now they're right there in my reach with my other tools because they're a lot of fun to use. So, all right. So let me go ahead and start adhering this down. I'm going to start with the bottom layers, add a little adhesive. Depending on your adhesive, if you've got pretty good dependable adhesive, then I don't add that much. I just add a little to the edges like you see. I personally use the 3L. I'm using the glue glider because I'm using up a lot of my stash that I have. I was talking and I just put it on the red side. And sometimes that happens. So guess what? I'm going yellow. I'm going yellow. So I'm going to turn mine over, ink that edge, and I will have yellow showing instead of the red. All right. Anyways, adhesive. So I do like the glue glider. I also like, I'm going to have to adjust this a little. Let's see. Okay, I'm going to have to adjust mine a little, guys. We're going to have yellow on yellow there. So be careful. Hopefully you're not listening to me talk and you can put your red, because personally I would prefer not to have these blend together like that. But it's still going to be very cute. So I'm going to go with it. Like so. I always bend my corners up too. I didn't point that out, but for me, I always kind of add that little bit of to these round designs. It seems like sometimes I do that. So whether you stuck with the original design, which is right there, again, I just wanted to show you that versatility, that sometimes we get our inspiration and we adjust it a little bit, right? So that's okay. That is absolutely awesome. Sometimes we scrap lift completely, and and I give you permission to do that from any of the designs in the idea books or on our website or in our community. We are each inspired by each other, so which is so valuable. So definitely make sure to share freely, and you'll be surprised what inspiration will come through that act of sharing and connecting with others through this shared hobby. And then, of course, I wanted to point this out in the idea book one more time here for this card making. Kind of the same concept here, that I used it as my inspiration, right? But you can adjust it a little. So just keep that in mind as you're looking at the samples and you're seeing what designer templates they use. Maybe you have the same paper, likely you could. Not all of this is, you know, like this is, I remember making those. That was completely from my scraps of paper from old, like super old My Mind's Eye paper. And we're talking like 2010 paper, guys. So, but like if you were making this and you, again, don't have a donor sincerely, you can kind of adjust based off of these designer templates that just came in this starter kit. So if you see something that you like here, kind of like this, see how it has the strip and the border here? So what I could do is I could take, where did that go? Here it is. If I say I was going to create something, well, let me flip this over just so we have a canvas to create on top of here, right? I could create that, and maybe instead of that strip, although you could put a strip, just cut a piece of strip out. I can't get that paper up, hold on, there we go. And then a flower. And then a flower, and you just duplicated that same design. And that is one of the other reasons why I love the Play to Create. Not only does it let you play to create your own way, but it does give you the formula and the possibility to duplicate what you see online in other ways. I remember when I used to see tons of cute samples or ideas and I would want to duplicate it, but it was like, okay, well, I can't really duplicate. It wasn't a practical duplication. Like, it wasn't like you could practically do what you saw some of the designers do online. So, all right, so that is the Play to Create system for card making. If you are a scrapbooker, make sure to check out our website. You're gonna love it. The same process, great way to use up your paper stash, great way to design and not stare at an empty page, and to use the supplies that you have at home so that you can start getting that satisfaction of using what you've got, but also simplifying the process and having the end result, that fulfillment that comes through this. And then of course, make sure you send these cards to someone. Hopefully you were thinking about somebody while we were creating these cards and you had somebody in mind, or maybe inspired, you know, from above or whatever reason. And that person came into your mind when you were thinking about friends in your life that you are just so grateful to have. And so don't take long. Go get an envelope, address it, put a stamp on it, and send it on its way. Thank you guys so much for joining me. If you guys have any questions, please make sure to email our team at support@kiwilane.com. And of course, again, check out those links, and that will give you more information and more ideas on different ways that you can use this card pack that you got inside of this class. And keep playing, keep creating, and keep connecting. Thanks again.
So over on our website, you can create an account. And once you create an account, and it's a free account, definitely make sure to check out the home page. There is, of course, some tutorials for the scrapbooking and card making, so make sure to check those out. But here in the community feed, I wanted to show that to you as well. You can share ideas, you can comment with other people's ideas, and of course you can even see just fun different craft ideas all around, whether that's for the season. That's really cute, Carrie. For just out, you know, other fun ideas to inspire each other. Oh, I love fall, right? It's fun, some snap frames, adorable. So lots of fun ideas you can check out there, and just be inspired with the different products that lots of people are being inspired by. And smiling faces are always nice as well.